Oh my goodness. So I had no audio all this time. I do salak y'all. I do apologize. Thank you, brother Yafi. As always, right on time. So again, the title of our Bible study today is Heavenly Timing, YAH's Year and Month Start. And at the beginning, we have our holy day calendar, which we showed earlier in the class, which didn't have any audio. You can download that, check it out. You have all your new month starts and your holy days. Everything is there. So do apologize for the beginning of the class. I did have it on mute. So we're going to get right into it. So again, the class is Heavenly Timing, YAH's Year and Month Start. So we're going to open up in Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 7. Daniel, chapter 7. And we're going to start this at verse 23 through 25. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So now we're going into prophecy. We're not going to really cover that. We want to get to this part here, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. So notice right here that this enemy is going to think to change times and laws. Now, again, I didn't want to go into the prophecy aspect of this part of it, but when you're looking at them changing times and laws and talking about this other kingdom, what kingdom actually started to change these times and laws? Well, last Bible study, we showed you it was the Gregorian calendar that changed it again. And before that, it was Julian. So these are Greeks and Romans, mainly Romans, that are now changing. So they have changed the times and they changed the law. If you go back to the Spanish Inquisition, when they were expunging or getting rid of the Hebrews, Israelites, specifically of the house of David that was in Portugal and Spain, they made laws. They had to change laws. They had to change the Sabbath, where it was a Saturday in almost every language, sabado in Spanish. They had to change it, or sabata in Greek. They had or Latin. They had to change it to a Sunday, and they had to change the order of the week, all this stuff. So this was prophetic. This was nothing new. So I just wanted to show that this was prophesied. And again, last Bible study, we showed you from their own documents where they literally changed the year. So if we depended on the Greeks and the Romans and Babylon to tell us when the new year is, we're going to be sent off, because we already know that the enemy is going to change the time and the laws. So just look at one law they enacted here recently. In 2007, they enacted the daylight savings. They changed daylight savings. They keep changing. Daylight savings has been around since I was a kid. But in 2007, they changed it religiously. Every year is going to be the second Sunday of March. Now, if you get to the second Sunday, that means it has to be at least the second week. And Sunday would have had to start the week. You have to have at least 2 Sundays to progress in March. That's going to put us right by our equalux. So you can literally look at daylight savings and know after that second Sunday, the next Tuesday, boom, you in your new year. All right. So that's just a little a teaser right there. We're going to actually calculate that. So let's go to Genesis. Let's go back to the beginning, because we can't depend on the enemy to tell us the truth. We can't depend on them to tell us, oh, you know, the Shabbat's coming. Don't y'all keep the Shabbat? Hey, the Shabbat starts at this time. Your enemy not going to tell you how you can be empowered. So the Most High said, look, I know you guys are going to be in captivity, because he said all the way in Genesis, and when you go into captivity, all the way in Deuteronomy, when you go into captivity, remember these laws, remember me. So this was prophesied that this was going to happen. Yah gave us the stars, the sun, and the moon, so we can know his calendar, so we can know his start. So let's go back to Genesis. We're going to read a few verses. Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 1, and we're going to read 14 through 19. Genesis, chapter 1, and we're going to read 14 through 19. And again, this is an open forum. If something's not quite adding up, something's not sitting right, or you need some clarification, by all means, speak up. Because if it's true, then it should be proven. We got to prove all things. If it doesn't make sense, then, we can work to explain it better. We can get in some more scripts and make sure we get a good understanding, because we all know, according to prophecy, there's going to be a wilderness journey. So do you think Babylon going to be with us in the wilderness? You think we're going to have your cell phone? You're going to check your cell phone and see, what Gregorian day it is? And all? Nah, you're going to have to know how to use the heavenly tablets, what Yah gave us to determine Yah's time, to be on his timing, because that's why it was created. So let's look at the creation of this clock. Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 1, and we're going to start this at verse 14. Bereshit, chapter 1, and verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. So he's telling you, I created these lights in the firmament. So it's literally in the firmament. All right. Not above, not below. It's in the firmament of the Shamayim, of the heavens. And it is literally created to divide the day from the night. So these lights that are in the heavens are to divide the day from the night. So what lights do we have in heaven that if you see that, it lets you know it's either day or night? All right. So is the sun going to ever be out at nighttime? Ever? Never. So the sun is only going to be out in the daytime. So that is your great light. That is to divide the night from the day, the sun. Now, when the sun is gone, will it be daytime when the sun is gone, when it's completely gone? No, unless it's being covered up with an eclipse or something like that. Now, at nighttime, is the moon out every night like the sun is out every day? No. We have at least 2 to 3 days where the moon is invisible. We can't see it. So that can't be our determining factor for nighttime. Furthermore, you're going to see the moon in the daytime. So that's confusion. You can't say that that's the greater light to rule the night, because if that's the case, then it would be up there every night. But those stars are in the heaven at night, every night. I don't care what night it is. I don't care how far along in the year, the stars are always going to be in the sky. So that's what lets you know it's night. The sun lets you know it is day. All right. So he made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Verse 17. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. So if you start at verse 1, you see that there's a pattern here. In the evening, Arab, and in the Boker, morning, day 1. Evening, morning, day 2. It's not saying morning, then evening, then night, day 1. So it's giving you the order of Yah's days. Now, man that likes to worship the sun, he starts his day off with the daytime. But that's not how the calendar day starts according to The first book of the Bible, Genesis. All right. So we have lights that separate the day from the night. So this light and these lights is what separates the day from the night. So that's how you know when a day starts and when a day ends. All right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. I want to check something out real quick. And Shalom, Viva Renee. Good to see you, sis. All right. So we're going to go to Matthew chapter 13 because we're given certain things, but then other things we're not really given clear cut understanding. And that was by design. And it got so bad that all these parables and all these things that the disciples just got enough nerve to ask YAH. Like, just tell us, why all these parables? So we're at Matthew chapter 13 and verse 10. And we're just going to read 10 through 13. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speak you unto them in parables? And he answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it's not given. So YAH talking in codes, just like how we have what they call ebonics. We have our own language that we can talk. We can say certain things, or, with your wife, you can, you have your little inside jokes and you talk and you say certain things nobody else understands. Well, the Most High has that with his people as well. And he calls them parables. And you're not going to understand that parable unless you're given the spirit of understanding. A teacher could try to teach it to you all he wants, but if you're not given that spirit of understanding, you won't be able to apply it and understand how to apply it. So a lot of times when Mashiach is speaking in here, he's speaking in parables. And we're supposed to use the facts that were given of YAH and the laws that were given of YAH to take what we know is true and use that to help understand what this parable is trying to get us to understand. All right. Verse 14. Verse 13. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. All right. So some things he's going to give us in parables. So let's go look at one of the things that he gave us. Let's go to John. Let's go to the book of John. And we're going to see how all of this ties into this calendar, how YAH was sitting in the midst of these Israelites, in the midst of these Edomites, and King Herod and all these Pharisees that hated him and the scribes that hated him. And he was talking in code that years later we will be able to get this and be able to use this. So we're going to Matthew. I'm sorry, you're right. We're going to John. John chapter 11. And we're going to read 7 through 10. The book of John, chapter 11, 7 through 10. Not First John, just John. It's kind of confusing. Why would you have a book of John and then a First John, then a Second John? Well, let's start with, why do they call him John and begin when it's Yohanan? How you get John from Yohanan? All right, so we're at the book of John, chapter 11, and we're going to start this at verse 7. So again, they asked him in Matthew 13, why you keep talking in these parables? He said, because it's given unto you to know the mysteries, but not them. So here's one of the mysteries. Verse 7. Then after that, saith he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto Adonai, the Yahudim of late sought to stone you, and you go you there again? They're like, bro, they trying to kill you. You still going over there? Verse 9. YAH answered Are there not 12 hours in the day? Wait a minute. I thought a day 24 hours. Or every daytime portion is in 12 hours. Well, right now, we don't have no 12 hours a day right now. So what is he talking about? Bless you. It says, if any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he sees the light of this world. But if any man walk in the night, he stumbles because there is no light in him. So he's talking multiple layers here. First of all, strategically, if they looking to kill you, you walk at night so they don't see you. But if you want people to see you because you're here to do a job, you walk in the daytime. So he not doing none of this stuff in secret. He doing his good works so people can see him, right? You don't take a candle and hide it under a bushel. So there's multiple layers. But what I want to key in is 12 hours in the day. Now, when we look at the ancient calendar, the Zadokian calendar, the Enochian calendar, around 2 times of the year, you have about 12 hours day. And if you have 12 hours day, then you know there's 12 hours night. So this is talking about a specific time of the year. All right. Now, why would he say this around this time? Why would he not just say, hey, listen, man, walk in the day or walk in the night? Well, let's drop down to verse 55. And we're going to see what time of year it is when he's saying this. We drop down to verse 55. And the Yahudims Passover was near at hand. So that means they were coming close to Passover. So that would mean you right around the new year. That would mean you got about 12 hours day and 12 hours night. So it's the springtime. So he's letting you know what kind of calendar he uses. He uses an ancient calendar. And why would they say the Jews Passover? It ain't the Jews Passover, it's Passover. Pesach. But apparently the Jews that were led by an Edomite king and possibly an Edomite high priest were keeping a different calendar than Yahushua. That's why what they call the Last Supper, they call it the Last Supper because they don't want to let you know it was Passover, or else we'd have to keep Passover. He kept his Passover. He even said, where should we go keep the Passover? He kept it days before the Jews' Passover was. And a lot of people could not explain that. Well, he's letting you know in this same chapter, are there not 12 hours in a day? So he's using an Enochian calendar. And furthermore, we're going to prove this 12-hour breakdown. When we go into Jubilees, it's going to explain why is he saying there's 12 hours in a day. There's not 12 hours of daylight all the time, but the daylight, the daytime portion is calculated at 12 hours. And we're going to show you in the ancient way of doing things. We're going to show you, and that 12 hours is broken up into 3 parts of 4-hour parts. And those are watches. So that would explain the 12-hour day, because you have those 12-hour daytime watches and 12 hours of nighttime watches. So we're going to prove that. So he's giving you parables and he's breaking stuff down that we wouldn't even understand unless we're looking at things from a biblical perspective. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13. Mattathiah chapter 13. All right, so we're going to go to the book of Matthew. We're going back to Matthew. We were just reading that. Chapter 13. And we're going to read 32 and 37. He's giving you several clues about the calendar system in this one chapter that we're not picking up on. First thing he said in that chapter, he said, I speak to them in parables, so they don't know, but it's given unto you to know. Then he gave a parable in John chapter 11, talking about not 12 hours in a day. And then now, back in Matthew 13, we're going to start at verse 32, and he's going to give you another clue. Excuse me, Luke chapter 13. I apologize. Luke chapter 13. So it's a different chapter. Luke chapter 13. Okay, no, I got the wrong. This is wrong. Okay, bear with me. I got the wrong script here. I was looking for something else. I wrote the wrong script down here. All right, I was going to Mark chapter 13. Sorry, Marcus chapter 13, excuse me, not Matthew, Marcus chapter 13, and we're going to start this at verse 32. All right, so he gave us clues here. But of the day and the hour knows no man, not the angels which are in Shamaim, neither the Son, but the Father. Take you heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch you therefore, for you know not when the master of the house comes. And we hear, oh, it could be even midnight or the cock crowing, or we hear that and we think, okay, it could be any time. That's what we hear. But there's a clue right here. He's actually giving you the breakdown of the day right here. Because he says, look, you don't know what time he's going to come. So he can come anytime. He didn't say, you don't know what day he's going to come. He said, you don't know what time. Then he broke down the times of the day. Even, remember, in the evening and the morning were the first day. He just broke it down again. Even or at midnight, because you have even, which starts your night. You have midnight, which is literally the middle of the night. And then you have the morning. When does the cock crow? In the morning. So once again, the parable is showing you the order of the day, consistent with Genesis. Or in the morning, least coming suddenly, he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, which unto all, watch. So does he expect you to be up at midnight? No, you should be asleep. Unless it's a midnight prayer, maybe a prayer before you go to bed. But at the end of the day, he's showing you the order of the day. All right. The day is broken down into parts. So now we're going to go to Jubilees. Now, how are you supposed to know that? We're not given these specific information in Torah. They took things out. They didn't want us to have everything because they want to control the narrative. But the ancient books have these things. So we're going to go to the book of Jubilees. So Bellum, the book of Jubilees, if you do not have access to the book of Jubilees, you can always go to our website, saveyourwordofyah.org, and go into the books and Bible section, the library section, and you can go ahead and access this. So you just go to our book page, go to the library, and then you can access all of this stuff. So we're at the book of Jubilees, chapter 49, and we're going to go to verse 10, and we're going to read 10 through 12. All right. It says, let the children of Yasharal come and observe the Passover on the day of its fixed time, on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings. So it is between the evenings. When you read the King James Version, it says in the evening. But when you look at that word in the King James and look at the Hebrew word that was there, the Hebrew word that was there was bain, which literally means between. So in Hebrew, it was clear. But in English, they left it off to confuse you. And why would they do that? Because if you read this whole chapter, they say Passover is so important that if you keep the Passover correctly, the plague will stay off you that year. And the first Passover, if you kept it correctly, your firstborn wouldn't die. So they believe if they can give us false information, that we would die by default. All right. So verse 10, let the children of Yasharal come and observe the Passover on the day of his fixed time, on the 14th day of the first month between the evenings. Not only between the evenings, it says from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. So that lets you know there's 2 evenings. You have the one that starts from the third part of the night, the third part of the daytime, and you have another evening which begins ending the third part of the night, because at the third part of the night, you're getting ready to have the morning again. Now, let's break that down again. We got do it real slow. Let the children come observe the Passover on the 14th day of the first month between the evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. For 2 portions of the day are given to the light, and a third part to the evening. So if you break up, he just told you, are there not 12 hours in a day? So the 12 hours of the daytime portion, right? 12 divided by 3 is what? 4. So you got 3 4-hour durations. The first 4-hour portion, right, is given to the night. Again, it's given to the night. So this is as the sun goes down and it's not yet dark, and then it becomes dark. Now that is your first part of your night. All right. The second part of the night comes, then the third part of the night. So this is talking about the third part of the day, daytime. So as your day is getting ready to end, that's the first portion. Then as the night starts, that's the first portion of night. The middle of the night is the second portion, and the third part of the night going into getting ready to start the evening. That is when the Passover is observed. So in other words, on the 14th day, as the sun goes down, you're killing that Passover, but it's still light outside. When it becomes dark, that's the first part of the day. Then you have 2 more portions of the night. All right. So verse 11, that is which Yahweh commanded you that you should observe it between the evenings. And it's not permissible to slay it during any period of the light. So those first 2 portions of the day, you can't slay it in the 14th. So when you start your daytime portion of the 14th day, you can't slay it in the morning of the 14th. You can't slay it in the afternoon of the 14th. You can't slay it until that third portion of the daytime portion, the last 4 hours of your daylight. That is given to dark. Even though it's still bright outside, it's starting to get dark, and they consider that evening because it's moving towards even, which is dark, when it becomes perfectly in between. All right. So it is not permissible to slay it at any period of the light, but during the period bordering on the evening, and let them eat it at the time of the evening. So you can't eat it until the 15th. So the bordering of the 15th, which is that the sun has gone down, it's the stars ain't out yet, but the sun is not out. That's when you can kill it. but you can't eat it until it becomes dark. So when it becomes dark, that's the first part of night. You eat it until the third part of night. So it becomes dark, that's the first part of night. Then you got midnight, that's the second portion of night. Then you have the third portion of night, which is late at night, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, all the way until it's about to become morning. And it says, whatever is left over of all the flesh from the third part of the night, so for the last 4 hours of night, that's when you're supposed to be burning it with fire, because it can't reside until the morning time. It has to be burned in that nighttime. All right. So that is how your daytime portion is broken up. So I'm going to see if I create like a little graph. Let me see if I can pull it up if y'all can see it so I can explain it a little bit better. All right. So let me go ahead and do a new share. Perfect. It came up. All right. So I did like a little Excel spreadsheet. All right. So here's the 14th day. All right. Let me blow that up a little bit. All right. So here's the 14th day. Right. And we know it starts at night. So the 14th day starts at night. Here's your 3 portions here. 3 portions a day, 3 portions a night, 3 portions a day, 4 hours each. So your first portion of night, you'd be about 7 to 10 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, right? Second portion of night, your midnight hour, 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m. Your last portion of night is 4, 5, 6, all the way to 7 a.m., right? 7 a.m. hour. All of that is your nighttime portion. So that means you don't eat, you don't kill your Passover, right? To here. Can't do it in the nighttime portion of the 14th. You can't do it in any daytime portion. Remember, it says 2 portions of the day are given to light and 1 to the night. So this here, this last portion from 4, 5, 6, and 7 p.m., that is the third part of the day of the 14th. This is when you would kill your Passover in that portion. And you have to wait till the sun sets, and then you can kill it. You can't eat it until you get here to the 15th day. Remember, starts at night. This 15th day, when it becomes nighttime, and let me fix that. It should be 7, 8, 9, 10, like the other one. However you break down this 4-hour period. All right. Here you have your first portion of night of the 15th. You're eating, you're feasting. This is when we would have been eating the Passover. You eat it, you got 8 hours to eat. Once you get here to the last 4 hours of your night, this is here where you got to be killing it. You got to be burning it, because why you had to burn it? Because you had to get rid of it, and you had to get in your house before the destroying angel came. And when the destroying angel came on that first Passover, you didn't even have that much time. Because remember, he came by midnight, the dead bodies was already found. So that means they ate it, that first portion, and they behinds knew you not finna hang out if you know a destroying angel is coming. You might not even chew your food. You're like, all right, let's get in the house. I ain't trying to lose my firstborn. And I'm a firstborn. I definitely ain't trying to die. So this is why you had to eat it in haste. All right. So that's how it's broken down. And then here you got your 3 portions of your day. All right. By this first portion, it's gone. We was already out of here. Because it said we left out on the 15th. All right. So that's the ancient breakdown of the day. Hope that helped you there. All right. So now we're going to go to Psalms 55. And then after that, we're going to go in Enoch, and we're going to show you the breakdown of how to start the month and the year. So Psalms 55, just giving you another witness from King David. All right, we're going to go to Psalms chapter 55. And we're going to start that at verse 17. Really only need to read one verse here to get the point. So Tehillim, Psalms 55 and verse 17. Tehillim, Psalms chapter 55 and verse 17. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray. So these are the hours of prayer. These are the prayer times. Okay, yeah, be careful. That's good, baby. Evening, morning, and noon. Those are your prayer times. So King David understood. And when do you want to pray? At the time of the incense. So your prayers could be carried up to heaven. And notice he's giving you the order of the day again. So Yahushua gave you the order of the day. The Bereshit, Moshe gave you the order of the day in Genesis. And then Yahushua came, which is the word himself, and gave the order of the day. So you have your evening, starts your night. Then you have the morning, starts your day. Then you have noon, which is the middle of your day. Those are the three portions. All right, so now we're going to go to Enoch. All right, let's go to the book of Enoch. All right, so you might want to get some pencil and paper if you want to understand this, because this is something that, you know, if it's your first year looking at it, it helped me to kind of write it down, to kind of draw it. I got diagrams and everything that we can look at, kind of break it down so you can understand it. But every year I get better and better. I get a better understanding of how the sun moves, the portals, even the diagrams I used to use back in the day. I figured out that although it shows the right thing, it's really not accurate. So every year I'm trying to get a little bit more accurate. All right, so we're going to do a new share. Let me, what I'm doing over here. Let me pull up Enoch. We're going to the book of Enoch, chapter 72. This is the book of the section of the luminaries where it starts with the sun. All right, so book of Enoch, chapter 72. And Enoch, they break it down differently depending on what version you have. So it could be 71 or 73, but it starts with the book of the course of the luminaries of heaven. All right, so this chapter breaks down how many days are in your year, how many days are in a season, and breaks down how each month, how much daylight and how much nighttime you're going to have. And then it also shows you, how do you know when the year starts? And how do you know when the month starts? So Enoch chapter 72 and verse 1. The book of the course of the luminaries of the heaven, the relations of each according to their classes, their dominion and their season, according to their names and the places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the Kodesh Malakim, or Malik, who has with me, who is their God, showed me. And he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world and unto eternity. And notice when eternity ends, till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. So you have forever, then forever, ever. All right. So this is how time is going to happen till the new creation is accomplished. And that creation is going to go on forever. And guess what? That ain't happened. We ain't got no new creation yet. We still struggling with the original one. All right. And this is the first law of the luminaries, the luminary of the sun. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, and is setting in the western portal of the heaven. So that lets you know that the sun rises in the east. Those are portals. Sets in the west. That's the western side of the portal. A portal is an opening. All right. And we're going to show you what that looks like in a minute. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these portals. And the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. So they're following each other. So they're not coming from different angles. No, they're following. They're all going the same direction. Order. Everything goes east to west. East to west. When you look up at the stars at night, if you find a constellation, Orion's belt is usually the easiest one to find. That literally, if you look at it and you look at a fixture in the sky, like a tree line or a skyline, if you give it about 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to see that same constellation move to the west. That's how you know you're directioning at night. You find a star that's prominent, you find a marker, skyline, and you see which direction it moves. Whatever direction it moves to is your west, because everything comes east to west. The sun rises from east to west. The shadowing on the moon, the light comes in from east to west, and the dark comes in from east to west. All right. And again, I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the west, 6 in the east, and follow each other accurately in corresponding order. Also, many windows to the right and left of these portals. All right. Notice it says that the sun and the moon move. But what does the European tell you? The European tell you the earth moves. But the Bible tells you, which we'll do in another class, I'm not going to do a flat earth class today, that the earth is fixed on pillars. It don't move. We were created. The servants move. The sun, moon, and stars move for us so that we could be aligned with YAH. Verse 4, and the first, there goes forth the great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot in which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east. And so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal. So notice that it goes east to west and it goes north. So if it's going east to west, let's look at a circle like this, all right? Put a circle facing you. It's going east to west. It goes north. So that means it's circling. It's not going across. So if you draw a circle, right? It's not radius east-west. It's going north. So that means it's circling the earth. It's not going straight across. So some of my diagrams before showed it kind of going straight across. It's circling the earth from east to west. So it's going north. It's not circling from the bottom, circling southeast to west. So Enoch is breaking it down. He's telling you everything that we see. And so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of heaven. Verse 6. In this way, he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th portal. So the 4th opening, there's 6 openings with the eastern and western side of the opening, like a top and a bottom, for lack of better word. Opening, right? Each one, it goes from the east through the great portal first, which is the 4th portal. So the 4th portal is where New Year is. And in the fourth portal, from which the sun rises, in the first month are 12 wide openings, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes forth through the fourth portal 30 mornings in succession, and sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of heaven. So it takes 30 days for the sun to travel through the fourth portal on the first month. So that means your first month of the year has 30 days. Every year, the first month of the year is going to have 30 days, because the sun takes the exact amount of time for it to go through those portals. So I'm going to show you a graphic of the portal. So let me save my space there. All right. And let me go ahead and pull up the graphic. All right. So let's see. Here we go. Here's a good graphic. All right. So again, the sun and the moon and the stars move, not the earth. The earth ain't rotating. These things rotate around us. So you see how it's circular? So the fourth gate would be here. They got it around the equinox, because they're concerned with the equator on the earth. So right here around March 2nd, right after the second week of March and the second week of September is where you have your fourth gate. So the sun is going around. You see here, this is east, this is west. Or this would probably be a better version. This is east and this is west. So it's going east, north. This is north here, north, south. So it's going around at this level. It goes in levels, heights. All right. It's further away. The further away the sun is, the higher it is in the sky, because the law of perspective, when you look at something from a distance, the further it is on the horizon, the higher up on the horizon is going to look. Like some telephone poles. If you look at telephone poles close, they look like they don't look that high. They're only like 12 feet, not 12, like 20 feet up or something like that. But then when you look at them a distance, it looked like, even on a flat surface, like I'm from Miami, it's very flat in Miami. If you look from a distance, it looked like the telephone pole's way up in the sky. That's the perspective. So the sun operates the same way. When it's furthest from you, it's high up in the sky. When it's close to you, that means it's closer to the earth. The closer it is in angle, the cooler it is. The farther it is, the hotter it is. So just like if you take your cell phone and you use your cell phone light and you put it on a piece of paper, and you circle it around something on a paper, like draw a dot on a piece of paper and put your flashlight and circle around the dot. The closer you are to that dot, the less light is on that paper. The higher you are up, the more of that paper is lit up. That's how you have your time zones. That's how you have your heat and warmth. All right. So the fourth portal is right here. It goes around here, fourth portal in a circle from east to west in a circle for 30 days, north to west, north to west, southeast, north, west, southeast. And it's going up. You see how it's going up, like winding, like it's going up a mountain? It goes up. It takes 30 days to go from the fourth portal into the fifth portal, which is the next one. So then it goes from the fifth, it takes a certain amount of days, and it goes to the sixth, right, which is up here. It goes all the way to the top of the sixth, then they got to go back down through the sixth, back down through the fifth, back down through the fourth, and that will be your fall, because the sun is falling, right? The days are falling short. Then it goes back all the way down to where we are now in the first portal, where it's the coldest and the night is the longest. The bigger that circle is, the longer the night is. That's how big the shadow is. The smaller that circle is, the more daytime, because it takes longer for the sun to go around that portal. All right. And that's why the sun gives you this kind of infinity looking symbol in the air. Because it's going up, 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 up. Then they got to go down, 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 down. Then they got to go back up, 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 up through these portals. All right. So let's go back and let's pick up. So now you can visually see that. And I'm going to give you one more graphic. All right. So this graphic here is how the seasons work. So again, we did this first gate, the fourth gate here. So this fourth gate is right here. It takes 30 days for the sun to travel through this fourth gate into the fifth gate. That's how we know the first month of the year is always going to have 30 days. All right. Then it takes another 30 days. Then it takes 31 days. So I'm jumping ahead. These are your seasons. All right. So we'll come back to that. All right. So verse 9. So again, 30 mornings in succession and sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of heaven. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer and the nightly shorter to the 30th morning. So every morning of that first month, your night is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter for the first time in the year since reaching equilibrium. All right. So after it's equal day, equal night, then the next day it starts getting longer for 30 days straight. All right. Now, on that 30th day of that first month, it says on that day, the day is longer than the ninth by a ninth part. And the day amounts exactly to 10 parts and the night to 8 parts. So this is where they bring the confusion. When it changed time used to be broken like this, where it was broken into 18 parts, not 24 parts. Not 24 hours, but 18 parts. So then you would have 9 parts day, 9 parts night, when you would have equal day, equal night. So you'd have roughly 12 hours day and 12 hours night. That's why he's saying, is there not 12 hours in a day? So you have to convert that to understand. So a part equals 80 minutes. So it's an hour and 20 minutes versus 60 minutes when you have 24-hour parts in a day. We have 18-hour parts. So you have to convert that. So all of this stuff is done intentionally to confuse us. So it sounds a little confusing, maybe your first time, but as you go over this, it's going to make a lot more sense. So on the 30th day of the first month, when you go outside, you're going to have 8 parts night and 10 parts day. So you're going to have roughly, let's see, let me calculate that. Let's do the math. So if 80 minutes times 10, so you're going to have 800 minutes of daytime. So let's divide that by 60. You're going to have about 13 1/3 hours of sunlight. So you are having 13 1/3 hours of sunlight going into your second month of the year. All right. So verse 11. And the sun rises from the fourth portal and sets in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 morning and rises and sets in the fifth portal. All right. So why is this important? We have to understand how many days are in a month. And this is calculated by the sun. So the sun in the first month takes 30 days to go through that fourth portal. And in this second month, it takes another 30 days to go through the fifth portal. Verse 12. And then on the last day of that fifth month, the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter to 7 parts. So now in the third beginning of the last month of spring, we're going to have 11 parts. So 11 times 80 minutes. You're going to have 880. Divide that by 60. We're going to have 14 and 14.66. So 14 and 6/10 of an hour. So we almost have 14 and 3/4 of an hour daytime. So the day is extremely long. Now, what does that sound like? Does that sound like spring? That sounds like summer, when the days is extra long, because that is getting ready to start your summer. Verse 13. And it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal. And it rises and sets in the 6th portal 31 mornings. So it takes 31 mornings for it to go through that last month of spring. So this is the pattern of the year. Every season starts with 30 days the first month, 30 days the second month, and then 31 days and the end of that season, because the sun takes an extra day to cross over gates, just like it takes a day to cross the line. So it reaches the edge, and then it takes a day to cross over that edge into the next portal. And it says, and it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises and sets in the 6th portal. 31 mornings on this sign. So verse 14, on that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night, and it becomes 12 parts night, 6 parts day. So it's twice as long. So let's calculate that. So let's go. So you now have 12 times 80 for 80-minute parts. 12 times 80. That's 960 minutes. Divide that by 60. You now have 16-hour days. You are now in your summer. That's the longest. So now you know when YAH was saying, isn't there 12 hours in a day? Well, not in the summer. You got 16 hours. So that daytime portion is not talking just the daylight hours. It's talking about how it's broken down. So it goes 4th portal, 1st month, 5th portal, 2nd month, 6th portal, 3rd month. Now we are going into the 4th month. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and returns into the 6th portal and rises and sets 30 mornings. So it's rising, 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 rising until it gets to the top of the 6th portal. Then it comes all the way down from the 6th portal. So it can't just jump from the top of the 6th and skip and go to the 5th. It got to go back down the 6th because it's going up. So let's pull that. Let's go back to that graphic again. All right. So if we go back to that graphic, you see here, 4th portal. 30 days it takes to go all through this 4th. East-west, round in a circle. Goes up. Hits 5th portal. Another 30 days does it take to go up. Then it goes to the 6th portal. Another 30 days to the top of the 6th portal. That's as high as it gets. Then it has to go back down the 6th portal. That's the 4th month. It's going back down the 6th. So if it's going back down the 6th, where's it going next? No, it went all the way up to the 6th. It's going back down from the 6th. Where is it going next? The 5th. So now we're getting ready to go into the 5th. So let's go read that. That's the 2nd month. The day is getting shorter, but it's still longer than the day, right? That's how you know you're in the summer. It's still longer than the day. Excuse me, still longer than the night, but it's not as long. You ain't getting 16 hours now. Now you're getting 15, 14. It's getting shorter, but it's still longer because you're still in the summer. All right, so let's go back to Enoch. Boom. And the sun mount makes the day, and the rest sets 30 mornings. So 30 mornings, again, it goes through that sixth portal. And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part, and it becomes 11 parts day, and the night 7 parts. So it goes back again to a shorter night. So it goes from 16 back down to like what, 13 and a third, what was it, 13.3 hours or something like that? 13 and a third hours. And the sun goes from that 6th portal into the west and goes and rises in the 5th portal for another 30 mornings and sets in the west and again in the 5th portal. All right. So it takes another 30 mornings in the 5th portal. And on that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts day and 8 parts night. So now again, you back down to a smaller night. So I think you went from 16 to like 14 to like 13 to like 12. So we're not even at 12 yet. 8 parts. All right. And the sun goes from that 5th portal and sets in the 5th portal on the west and rises in the 4th portal for 31 mornings. So that's your last month of summer. Let's look at that other graphic again. Remember, 30 days in the 1st portal, 4th gate. 30 days in the 5th gate. The day's getting longer and longer. 31 days. It's getting longer. Go into your summer. 6th gate. High as it gets. 30 days. 5th gate. 30 days, it starts to go down. The days are getting shorter. Then the 4th gate, once again, is back in that great gate where we started. Now you're getting ready to go into fall. Now you're about almost equal day and equal night around this portion. That's why they call it fall. They call it fall because your days, once you go into the fall shorter than the night. The night is longer than the day. That's why it's called fall. They call this spring because the night is longer in wintertime. But then as you get into the spring, the day for the first time springs longer than the night. All right, so we're going to go back to Enoch. So it goes through that for 31 mornings. So anytime you see 31, you know that's the ending of a season. On account of his side, it sets in the west. On that day, it's equalized with the night. So again, you have equal day and equal night. And that night amounts to 9 parts day and 9 parts night. So that'd be 12 hours day, 12 hours night. That's called the autumn equilux or autumn equinox. And the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west and returns to the east and rises 30 mornings in the 3rd portal and sets in the west in the 3rd portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day and the night becomes longer, and on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and the night becomes longer and the day shorter till the 30th morning. And the night amounts exactly 10 parts and the day 8 parts. So it flips around. Now the day is only 8 parts. It's only 800 minutes. And the night, the day is less. And the night is 800 minutes. So the night is longer. And the sun rises from that 3rd portal and sets in the 3rd portal in the west and returns to the east for 30 mornings and rises in the 2nd portal. All right, so it goes into that 2nd portal. Once it goes to that 2nd portal, in like manner, it sets in the 2nd portal in the west of heaven. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts and the day 7 parts. So now we're getting to those long, long nights. The day is getting long. You know, we know those times because Shabbat is coming. So we like, man, the sun coming quick. We got to hurry up because we don't have a lot of daytime. When we knock off work on that Friday, we don't got much time. And the sun rises on the day from the 2nd portal and sets in the west in the 2nd portal and returns in the east of the 1st portal for 31 mornings. So now you're going into your winter. This is what we just went through right after Hanukkah. We went into this part where you have the winter solstice. It's called the solstice, where you have the longest nights of the year. So there it is, 31 mornings. We know that's the last month of your fall. And it sets in the first portal in the west. And on that day, the night becomes longer, amounts to double the day. So it's twice as many hours of night. It's 16 hours of night and 8 hours of day. That is your solstice. And on that night amounts exactly 12 parts and the day to 6. And the day and night becomes longer, amounts to the double of the day. Night amounts, And the sun has traversed the divisions of the orbit and turns again on those divisions of the orbit, enters the portal 30 morning and sets to the opposite of it. So again, as it goes down into the first portal right here, it can't just automatically jump all the way back up to the second portal. It got to rise back up. So now it's rising back up through the first portal again in the first month of winter. And it goes here to go into the second portal. All right. And on that night, it has the night decreasing in length by a 9th part, and the night has become 11 parts and the day 7 parts. So the night is getting shorter again. Still longer than the day, but it's getting shorter. And the sun is returned into the second portal in the east and returns on those divisions of the orbital for 30 mornings, rising and setting. And on that day, the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts and the day to 8. So the night getting shorter and shorter again. And on that day, the sun rises from the portal and sets in the west and returns in the east and rises in the third portal for 31 mornings. So now when you see that 31, what does that 31 mean? Is it the beginning of the season, end of the season, middle of the season? That's the end of the season. Why is that the end of the season? Why is there 31 days in the end of the season versus the middle of the season? Because the sun takes an extra day to change seasons, to go into the next season. All right. All right. And on that day, the night decreases, amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as it is. Oh, wait a minute, I skipped. And on that day, the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day, the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west and returns to the east and rises in the third portal for 31 mornings, sets in the west of heaven. On that day, decreases the amount to 9 parts and 9 parts day. So the last day of winter, you have equal day and equal night. That is day 364. So this is how you know when the year is ending. When the night is getting shorter, and it's almost equal day and almost equal night. When it becomes that equal day, equal night, that is the last day of the year. The next day, the sun is crossing over into the fourth portal, and now the day is going to be a little bit longer than the night. Now you know you're in spring. So this is exactly 364 days. And the length of the day and the night, of the shortness of the day and the night arise to the course of the sun, and these direct distinctions are made. So it comes that its course becomes daily longer and the course nightly shorter. And this is the law and the course of the sun, and its return as often as it returns, and 60 times, and rises the great luminary, which is named the sun, forever and ever. And that which rises is the great luminary, and so named according to his appearance, according as Yahweh commanded. As he rises, so he sets, and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night. And its light is 7-fold brighter than of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal. So the sun and the moon are the exact same size. But they got to tell you the sun is a million miles away in order to, they got to tell you that the sun is so much bigger to explain why it looks the same size, why it's so perfectly at a distance that it happens to eclipse the moon. The moon happens to eclipse the sun. How can that be? It's just so perfectly far away that it just happens to be the same size. That's BS. They're both the same size, and they're both as close as you think they are. As close as you look up, that's how close it is, because it's in the firmament. All right. So again, I know that might be confusing, but let's go over these graphs. I'll run through it again. Again, we just talked about this here. Day 364 is the equilux, when you have equal day and equal night. When you have equal day and equal night, that's the last day of the year. The next day is the first day of spring. That's when the day is starting to become longer than the night. Now, how do you calculate that? You can't go by just the sunset and the sunrise, because when the sun sets, you still got light outside. You got refraction. You still can see. So that can't be it. It's how much daylight portion. Remember, the sun could set and it's still light out. You have to say, how many hours are we seeing light? How many hours can we, not see the stars? And how many hours can you, see the stars? Because the stars is not going to show up during the daytime. They call it the morning star. That's not even actually a morning star. So the closest thing that I could find was the date and time. Date and time kind of shows you the sunrise and sunset times at a specific time of year, and it breaks down, the duration, the day length. Now, these numbers don't add up. They don't add up at all, because how are you getting 11 hours and 52 minutes when you have a 751, 743? The numbers don't add up. And then you're looking at here where they say around here, you have equal day and equal night, like around the 16th. But then yet they say the equinox is equal day and equal night. They're saying it's on the 19th. That don't add up. So they're lying. They're not giving you accurate numbers. And when does their calendar day start? What time of day does it start? At midnight. So they can't calculate how many hours of sun light you have, because they're calculating based on days. Because at midnight, right? Midnight, it's the next day to them. So that's not the same. So that messes up your count. Then look here, daylight savings, they shifting the clock an hour back, this, that. So if you calculate and you got 12 hours day, 12 hours night, and the day before you had something like, or a couple days earlier, you had 10 hours. It ain't going to jump 2 hours in 2 days. It ain't going to jump an hour in a day. That's the messing with the clock. But interesting enough, like I said, they made that law in 2007 where they required daylight savings to start the second Sunday of March. Well, if you start the second Sunday of March, that first Tuesday that comes after that first fourth day of the week, because Tuesday night starts the fourth day of the week, which will be our Wednesday daytime. That's going to get your new year every year. So New Year starts at March 12th, right there. And if you calculate it yourself, you're going to look right around that Monday, that Monday night. You're going to have 12 hours a night, and Tuesday during the daytime, you're going to have 12 hours a day. So you want to look at Monday and Tuesday daytime. That's going to show you the 12 hours day, 12 hours night. Then Tuesday night, when it becomes dark, Happy New Year. Now you can bust fireworks and you can say Rosh Hashanah, Happy Rosh Hashanah, Samiyach, Rosh Hashanah, all that, whatever you want to say. Rosh Hashanah, not in the 7th month, not at trumpets, not in the wintertime. But you're going to say that in the beginning of the year. So that's the clue. How do they know to start it religiously? Since I've been doing this calendar, they've been starting daylight savings the Sunday of the week of our new year. So that's how you calculate it. If you're using the moon to calculate it, you're going to be in confusion, because again, The moon has a 354 day cycle. The year is 354 with the moon every year. It never changes. And if you do like the heathen do, they just hey, for the heck of it, just throw another month in. Now you got 380 something days. It doesn't add up. So that's how you calculate your calendar. You want to use the sun and the moon and the stars are your witnesses. That's going to show you how to know your season starts. So every beginning of a season, you're going to have a certain lunar phase. And when we look at the Enochian calendar, they track this stuff. All right. So this is with the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is them breaking down and charting the calendar found that the Essenes were using. And you notice it's just like what we read. 4th day of the week, Saturday night starts the first night. Sunday night starts the second. Monday night, the third. Tuesday night starts the fourth. So the daytime portion would be Wednesday. So the Tuesday night is your Abib day 1. So at least at the time before the Greeks, they understood that. They Shabbat every year was the 7th day of the week. Every month, every week, 7th day always, never changed. And the first Shabbat of the year was the 4th day of the year. And we can prove that if you look in what was the name of that? Psalms of Sabbath sacrifice, which was also found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, where they tracked what the priests were doing, the psalms that they had to do for each Shabbat of the year. All right, so you have that. There's your start. And notice it's broken down three, all of these are 91 days here. 30, 30, 31. The summer solstice, it takes an extra day for the sun to move. All right. Then you got 30, 30, 31. Now it brings you to the autumn equinox, the 31st day of the 6th month. Same thing, 30, 30, 31. The winter solstice, this is the longest night of the year. Then you have 30, 30, 31. Then you have the spring equinox. All right. So again, the equinox is not what Enoch was referring to in this, because the equinox just means the sun put a shadow across the earth. It does not mean that you have exactly 12 hours day and 12 hours night. That happens days before, up to a week before, anywhere from 4 to 7 days. So they understood that. And this is how your holy days are calculated. If you don't know when this day is, the first day of the year, how are you going to know when the 14th and the 15th is to keep your Passover? You're going to be all over the place. Every year, again, Tuesday night, this is when your unleavened bread Passover feast starts. Go here, 7th month, same thing. Tuesday night, trumpets. Always perfect. Matches up perfect. And notice here, they have the course of the priests, which they explain in Chronicles, where they divided up the priests, where for every week, a certain family of the priests of the sons of the Levites had to come in and do service. So you see here, first day, 4th day of the month. So the first month, 4th day, the Shabbat. That's letting you know year 1, the Shabbat is on the 4th day of the year. Always. 4th day of the year. That priest is coming in. He's going from the 4th to the 10th. Then on the 11th, the next priest comes in, so forth and so on. So they tracked it. And look, they tracked what moon phase was out. So you look, year 1, notice on the 17th, there's a new moon. On the 1st, there's a full moon. Then you go to year 2. On the 7th, there's a new moon. And the 20th is a full moon. So it's showing you the moon phases are changing every year. But at the end of the day, what you see right here about the Shabbat. First month, fourth day is always going to be the fourth, is always going to be your first Shabbat of the year. That never changes. Year 2, same thing. Go year 3, look, boom, same thing. Year 4, same thing. Year 5, same thing. But these moons is changing though. Year 6, same thing. And that brings you into the Jubilee. And the 7th year is the Jubilee. Something changes. That's why they don't have this chart right here. Something changes that Jubilee year. We don't have all the answers, but something changes. That's why they only gave you 6 courses of priest, but there's 7 years. All right, so that's the basic breakdown of the year, of how to calculate your year, how to know what season you're in. All of that is broken down there. If you want access to any of these graphics, you can reach out to us at saviorwordofyah.org. You reach out to us there. Give us your email information. We'll send you copies of this stuff. If you want to access that, you can also email us at info@saviorwordatl@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and get you a copy of that as well. If you have any questions, like I said, definitely reach out to us. We've been doing this for years. We've been watching it. And we've been watching these lunar doctrines just fall left and right. People are moving away from it because it just doesn't add up. It's not mathematic. Now, you can use that for farming. You can't use that for YAH's calendar. Doesn't add up. But what you will see, again, if I go back to that share, how the moon does relate. You go back to the calendar. All right, the course of the priest. The beginning of the year, you're going to have a certain moon phase. So the beginning of this year, of the first year, it's like almost a full moon. All right, because if the 17th was a new moon, that means halfway through will be a full moon. So a little bit after a full moon. So it's kind of like a crescent almost. So if the 17th is a new moon, that means the light would be, the shadow is coming from the right. That means you have a crescent on the left side on that first year. Second year said the new moon is on the 7th. So that means 7 days earlier, you'd have like a quarter moon on the left. Then the third year, around the 10th, you have a full moon. So you're going back to a crescent again, and so forth and so on. And then on the 4th year, you got a whole full moon. So that's letting you know you halfway through your year. You got a full moon. So these things are letting you know you're halfway through your 7-year cycle, excuse me. That moon phase is changing at the beginning of every year, and it's consistent. Notice the pattern. Year 1, you got a full moon on the first day, right? Year 2, you got like a kind of a quarter moon. Year 3, you got it like almost a dark moon. Yeah, you would have a dark moon. So you'd have a dark moon with a small sliver on your right side. Then year 4, you're back to a full moon. So you see how it's following a pattern, like a clock. So we're not saying throw away the moon. We're just saying use it for it's for the season. Said the moon is for the Moedim. Moedim does not only just mean the holy days, it means the seasons. So the moon is for your seasons. Does that not give you your tide? Does it not help you with gravity and all these different type of things? It has its job. Just like the woman is not the head of the house. So because she don't have the supreme authority, get rid of her. I only want to. So you gonna be a gay man? You gonna have 2 heads of houses? That's a monster. No, she has her job. The heart is important. You can't live without that heart. You can live without a rib cage, but do you want to have a heart not protected? The heart needs a rib to protect it, to keep you upright. So these things come together. The sun needs the moon, because all three all got to align to start a revolution of time, to start like a specific year, or to start Jubilee year. All these things are going to line up in perfect succession, just like the clock. In order to start a new day with the 12 o'clock clock, everything got to be lined up at 12. The second, the minute, and the hour all got to be lined up. So it's the same thing. These things when all these things line up for a specific full year, that's going to tell you what year you're in. So if we had what did we have when the year started this year? I think we had like a sliver moon on the right or something like that. The beginning of winter, we had the same thing, same moon phase. But guess what? The beginning of spring, we're not going to have that same moon phase. The moon phase is going to change. Then we have a new, and that's supposed to tell us what year we're in. And as I've been watching the moon a little bit more, I noticed that shadow changes a little in angle. And I think the angle of that shadow, where the crescent moon is kind of up or down, it's always going to be looking left or right. But if it's kind of angled upward, like it's almost like the moon turned a little bit upward or it turned bottomward, I think that has to do with your year. But again, I don't have enough information to tell you exactly what year we're in. So again, that is how you calculate the year. Yah's will, if anybody has any questions, definitely reach out to us. In Yah's will, we will see you for Shabbat. And if you have any more questions, you can definitely go to our YouTube page, our videos, and just look at the classes that we did on calculating. And some years we went in where we actually graphed everything and wrote it on a sheet of paper and showed you how to do it so you can calculate everything. And that might help you if you're trying to do it yourself. So that's all we're going to do today. Yah's will, we will see you on Shabbat. If you've gained anything from our classes or our ministry and would like to donate, you can go to our website, hit the donate button, donate directly into the Savior Word of Yah account, or you can donate on our Cash App, which is $Savior, $S word ATL. $S word ATL. So Yah's will, we'll see you for Shabbat. Yah be with you all. Shalom. Shalom.